like to contact the show, send us an email at liveonfourlegspodcast@gmail.com or get involved in the conversation on social media. Join the Pearl Jam Podcast community group on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at liveonfourlegspod.
Well, goddamn, look at us. We're in Hampton, Virginia. We've never been here before. I don't know if it's always as pretty as as downright beautiful and pretty as it was today, but driving in, I was like, this is an incredibly beautiful place. Really something else. And I guess my question to you is do we tell other people that, or should we keep it a secret? That's what I want to know. Because if you want this place to yourself, I totally agree with you, and then we'll just keep it nice for the next time we come. That would be great. And away we go.
You're listening to Live on Four Legs, the live Pearl Jam podcast experience, featuring
Mr. Stone Gossard. Fucking Cameron in a truck. Mr. Boom Gasper. You can call me Al, you can call me Ed, you just fucking call me, why don't you?
Hey everybody now, welcome to Live on Four Legs, the definitive live Pearl Jam podcast. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. If you're tuning in for the second, third, 100th time, welcome as well. We are a podcast that solely dedicates themselves to Pearl Jam's live performances all throughout the years, through the pantheon of Pearl Jam, as we like to say, going through the 90s stuff in the Versus and Vitalogy era to what we're doing today, Hampton from 2016, a very good show from the Lightning Bolt era, so to speak. And why don't we just jump right into it? Randy Sobel over here, John Farrar over there.
Hello.
And John, this is, before we start, I just want to address something real quick. I just want to apologize for our little hiccup last week. There was an audio glitch that we had in our episode, and it never happens. And if it does happen, I usually catch it. This was a once-in-a-lifetime glitch. We're making sure that it never happens again. People that brought it up, we thank you for bringing it up. And, we promise that this week there's not going to be any of that stuff. And there were a lot of people that got back to us and saying that after we fix it, they were still hearing it. The only thing that I can tell you guys is just try listening to it on a different platform to see if it works for you. So
I have not been replaced by artificial intelligence.
As much as I want to replace him with Bender, no, it didn't happen. And it's unfortunate because that was an episode that, we definitely didn't want that to happen on, because we had Clint on, and Clint was a terrific guest, and we didn't want any of that interfering with him. And but look, we're past it now. But we wanted to apologize and bring it up, and just in case anybody was dealing with the issue, we're not a robot podcast, and we're just going to move forward now and move on to the next thing. So this is interesting because you actually left us with a little teaser at the end of the last episode. You said that you almost went to this show, but you did not. So please speak of the circumstances that happened beyond it.
Yeah, I came very close. I remember when they announced the dates, 2016 was kind of like, okay, like I'm back in now. Like I'd been on the rail in 2013 in Charlotte. I'd been to Up Close in Memphis in 2014. And so I was ready to see them a bunch of times. So I had put in when they announced the shows, I'd put in for Jacksonville and Greenville and Columbia and Raleigh because those are all fairly close by. And I was like, well, there's this Hampton show in the middle, like they're going up and then they're coming back down. So I was like, I wonder if I should just do that. But I ended up not doing it. I ended up having really good luck with my lottery results. I got GA for Jacksonville, Greenville, and Columbia. So, but yeah, I came very close to just making a road trip out of it and putting in for the show, but ended up not doing it at the last minute because it was right in the middle of all the ones I was going to.
And that I don't want to say that kind of bit back at you a little bit, but you said you put in for Raleigh and you won Raleigh. And half of this show, the story about this show is about Raleigh. So talk about your, like, everything that you had prepared for, because this is following 2 days after the Greenville show. So you're on a high. You just saw Versus in its entirety. And even before that Jacksonville show is very good as well. So you're like, okay, let's go. Let's get Raleigh going. And then right after Raleigh, I think it's the next day is Columbia.
Right. Yeah, I think I remember, talking to people at the shows and in the lines being like, oh, that show's going to be crazy. Like, they're going to open up with whipping and it's going to be furious and it's going to be like, it's going to be angry show. Like, it's going to be awesome. Like, we were all thinking like, oh, that one's going to be like it's going to be an instant classic. Like, it's going to be one to go down in history. And yeah, it took, cause I had kind of like done little things. Like I drove down to Jacksonville, drove back, drove to Greenville, drove back. And I was planning on driving to Raleigh and then spending the night there, going to Columbia, driving back after the show. Like I wasn't full on the road trip. I was kind of making these little sorties and like coming back to Atlanta. And yeah, like I remember getting the news like when it was canceled, just being so bummed out. Like, that did not seem like something they would do. Like, you go back to these, like, the David J. Gunn Band and all that stuff and all the stuff from the 90s. It just seems like they would want to be in the middle of it and like, yeah, let's get in people's faces and let's push this thing. And like he mentions, figure out a way to donate the money, like make a difference with it. But I remember just being really bummed out that it wasn't happening. Like I had reserved seats. I didn't have GA. So that was going to be kind of my relaxing one. I was kind of looking forward to just taking it easy and enjoying the show. But yeah, it still bums me out a little bit that they didn't do it. And you understand why. It's 50-50. You wish they could have played it and done some good and gotten in people's faces with it, but you understand, he does the whole speech about, why they felt like they had to do what they had to do. But yeah, at the time and even still a little bit now, I kind of really wish they had played the show because it would have been really, really crazy.
Yeah, and look, I fully understand, and at the time I understood the reaction from it. Like, yeah, you're bummed. Like some of those people, that was probably their only show. Maybe it was their first show. Maybe it was their first show in years. And to have that just cancel and just get swiped like a rug out from under you, that sucks. That really sucks. And we all have dealt with that now because the pandemic has put us in that position. So we all know how it feels and we can all relate to that. Obviously, it's completely different circumstances, but we all know how it feels to get just multiple things canceled on us. So here's the thing. The reason why they did it, and I don't want to say the reason why they did it, but I think definitely a factor that went into it was because I think 2 or 3 weeks before that, Bruce was supposed to be playing in Charlotte or Raleigh, one of the two, and he ended up canceling. So you're right. Ed said something in the show that they were going to try and do a fundraiser and try to make a bad situation good, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't muster up whatever it took to do it, and they thought it wasn't worth it. And I think he even mentions, and we'll play the clip right now, the whole thing is important to hear. This is from the Encore 1 break. And he mentions it. He says that the best way to go about this is to protest it and not to give the state any money and not to give the state any attention. So here it is. We're going to play it for you now, kind of go out of order. We don't usually do that very often, but it's important. So listen to what Ed had to say about the situation.
We had to make a real tough call, and we had to make a call about what we would do about the situation in North Carolina. Because they've got a law there that broadly discriminates against a whole group of people. And I can't tell from here if you're booing North Carolina, if you're booing us for having to decide that we're not going to play there. I would understand that too. And it was a hard process because we thought we could still play and make things right, and that we could fortify all the people on the ground working to repeal this despicable law. We thought we could take the money and give it to them and still play the show. But the reality is there's nothing like the immense power of boycotting and putting a strain. And it's a shame because people are going to be affected that don't deserve it. But it could be the way that ultimately is going to affect change. So again, we just couldn't find it in ourselves in good conscience to cross a picket line when there was a movement. So we apologize to those in Raleigh. We apologize to those who are going to Raleigh. We apologize to the locals who probably believe in the same things that we do. They have a reason to be pissed, and we're pissed off too. But we got to be pissed off at the right people and get them to change their minds because they made a mistake, a big mistake, and they can fix it.
That's something that I don't think a lot of people understand right now, or even then. Like, I think in the last 4 years, like, the awareness has gone up, and the respect and just understanding for all different kind of people, non-binary to transgender male, transgender female. People have learned about it and understood it a little more. But back then, I don't. And I remember what was going on at the time, but people were just not having it. They were very quick to just be very judgmental about the whole thing. And really, because maybe for a lot of people, the law didn't have any effect on them. So they thought that Pearl Jam was putting them out and putting them out of what they considered to be their entertainment. So all of the anger went towards the band and what they've conceived as their political, ideological process.
And you hear, the boos from the crowd as he's talking about it. And yeah, a lot of it was people were bummed out that they were canceling. Like, there's so many kind of nuanced, sides to this. Like, people were booing because, they didn't like the politics. People might be booing because they wanted them, like me, they wanted to go play the show and stick it to them. Like, stick them the middle finger. Fuck you, we're here. We're gonna mention this. We're gonna raise some money and get after it. People might be booing because they didn't like the law, like he says. There could be any number of reasons. But yeah, I remember a lot of like kind of like scare tactics about like, any guy can just put on a wig and go into the women's bathroom and molest your daughters and all that. It was a lot of like very ugly scare tactics going on. And yeah, I mean, it's, in North Carolina at the time, the legislature there, all the gerrymandering, and they got in a lot of trouble shortly after this, and the law was reversed. So luckily we're there. Pearl Jam they promised they would make it up, and they have not yet. So I'm looking forward to that.
And the way that we sit right now, and it kind of reminds me of what's going on down where you are in Atlanta and Georgia, that they had to cancel the MLB All-Star game and move it to Denver because of what's going on with the voting restriction laws there. And that's the first thing, because we've been pressing the idea of Pearl Jam play Atlanta for the first time in like they
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
The first real show in 18 years.
Exactly, since the Riot Act tour.
Yeah.
But this definitely does not do them any favors, because you would have to think if other corporations and other places are not going to comply with Georgia, the band isn't going to comply with Georgia either.
And they film a ton of movies here now. Like those Marvel movies are filmed here and all that stuff. Like, It's a huge industry here, and a lot of people are talking about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just reactionary politics, and we could get started on this and talk for an hour about it.
Probably.
Because it's just people being stupid and reacting to things that they're just trying to profit off of and trying to exploit, and it's just kind of sad. The postscript to this is like, it would really be sad if they don't go back and play Raleigh. I think that's what needs to happen. Is like, I really hope that they haven't forgotten about this, and I hope that when the shows are announced that Raleigh will get a show. That it would really kind of put a closure on this, and I really, really hope that happens. Almost as much as I hope they play Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, because it's a swing state, I'm wondering if that October leg that they were planning, I wonder if that was one of the key states that they were trying to hit. So
yeah.
All right, so that all being out of the way, before we get into anything, I want to thank Julia Feller. She is our patron, and she requested this show, and I wanted to get to it pretty early because this is around pretty close. Last week was the anniversary for the show, so I wanted to kind of, with 5 years, it's a good time to sort of look back and reflect. And Julia wrote to us, and sometimes you just don't know what stories you're going to get from your listeners, and you kind of expect, they were probably there. But no, Julia actually wasn't there. She has never been to a Pearl Jam show, which is, I think, just all the more interesting to me. So I'm gonna read her story here. I wasn't at the show, and I've never been to one. I was supposed to be in St. Louis for the Gigaton tour, but admittedly, I'm a baby fan. The Hampton show was just one of the first bootlegs I found and really came to love. I especially think I Am Mine, Not For You, and Sirens are great, plus the whole second encore. I wasn't yet obsessed with the live stuff besides this show and a few other classic shows, but when the tour was canceled, I came across your Twitter, yours meaning ours, and started to listen to the pod as a way to study up for when she finally gets to see them herself. And she thought Hampton was a pretty good idea of what we might get when they come back. And you know what? She might not be wrong. That this show overall, there's some gems in here. They have some that completely are out of nowhere where you almost never see them in that part of the set. I can see, sure. This was almost an anomaly for them. Some of the things that they did, they almost never do and will never do again in the show.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot, and this kind of is, it's in Virginia. It reminds me a lot of that Charlottesville show from 2013.
Yeah, it's got some hints of it.
And you get some of the same songs, and it's a long show. It's longer than any of the ones that I went to around this time. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. I wish I'd gone.
All right. Well, let's let the show begin. The way that we're going to start off is with Why Go. And, it's interesting because the 2013-2014 legs of the Lightning Bolt tour were predominantly getting in with Pendulum and then building with like a Release or a Wash and then like a Nothing Man or an Elderly Woman. But this whole leg right here, it felt like every night they were just, let's hit you right out of the gate. Let's hit you with a Why Go. Let's hit you with Go, Corduroy, Animal, whatever it was. Let's get you into the show right when we take the stage, and that's exactly what this is here.
She scratches a letter to a wall, maybe someday another child won't feel as alone as she does. It's been 2 years and counting since they put her in this place. She's been diagnosed by my life pieces. She seems to be stronger, but what they want.
This is great. I mean, I think Why Go is a great opener. I think they could do it more. And Why Go is kind of one of those kind of chameleon songs where it can fit in anywhere in a set. It can be an opener. It can be kind of in that punk rock set in the first 4 or 5 or 6. It can be, it can close a main set. It can kind of get you out of that encore kind of slower acoustic part. Yeah, like Why Go fits anywhere, and I think it's really solid here. Mike sounds great. The gets the crowd into it right away. I think it did the job.
It is a Ben Zobrist, that's for sure. It can play any position, it can bat anywhere in the lineup, and it can get the job done. Absolutely. This show right away. Like, you listen to how prominent Jeff's bass is. This is a Jeff Ament show. Like, a lot of these songs, Jeff is just the sound of his bass and it is just perfect. And sometimes
there's a great full video for this show too on YouTube.
Yes, go watch it, because it's like sometimes when you get full video, it's kind of some cell phone video and some video from here and there and kind of connected. But this is all like almost feels like it's all pro shot.
It's all edited together from different clips, and
right.
It sounds really good. It really gives you the feeling of being there.
Absolutely right, and you kind of see like stuff like Mike is already reacting to people. He's already communicating with people on his side. Like, that's really cool to see. And you want the place to get bouncing real early. That's the one that gets them there.
Especially in a place that they've never played before. They've never played in Hampton before.
Right.
And so this is a way, like what we always say, this is a way for Ed to feel out the crowd right away. Like, okay, what kind of night is this going to be? Let's see how they handle Why Go, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. And from Why Go, Mind Your Manners, Corduroy. Mind Your Manners was pretty much the lock of the number 2 spot on this tour. And Corduroy's Corduroy. Of course, that's going to kind of bring you into the show and kind of be your welcome and introduction. You get your typical, everybody has an opinion about this, but the 2016 call and response, some like it, others don't, but it feels pretty loose. The first 3 songs feel pretty loose, and they feel like they're in a pretty good mood, even though like there's some tough topics that they're going to have to bring up later in this show. They still feel like they're into it and they're in it for the long haul.
I didn't like the call and response at first, but I've come to like it because I think that moment when it stops and the crowd, the people that don't know keep singing, I think that makes for kind of a cool moment. I've kind of come to enjoy that, and I think you see kind of Ed react to it a little bit now, where he's like, yeah, that's pretty cool,
I've always been a proponent of, I like it there, but not as much on the bootleg. Because on the bootleg, there are certain things like, all right, well, you can't really react to it when you're sitting on your couch listening to the show. Yeah. But when you're there, of course you're going to sing along with the whole thing.
And did you notice, like, Boom is missing for the beginning of this show? Did you notice that?
No, I actually didn't.
Normally, like, Boom is there, but for a lot of this show, he's missing. He just comes and goes in this show. I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but yeah, I looked over, like, he's just not there a lot of the time. It was strange.
Interesting. So, but you know what? Some of these, like, what is he going to bring to Mind Your Manners? What is he going to bring to Brain of J? Those aren't really B3 type songs as much as you would love to see him there.
He usually plays on Corduroy, right? Like, he's usually...
I think he does, yes. I think he does play on Corduroy. Yeah. Interesting. And maybe that's just another mystery that we have to solve. Like in Mind Your Manners, they solve mysteries. Brina J and Faithful follow that up, and if I'm in the crowd knowing what happened 2 days prior, even though Milwaukee happened 2 years before, but you have this hopeful thought of, oh my God, the first 2 songs of Yield, could this be? It's not, but it's a nice little tease, especially coming off of the Greenville show. And
that's Ed, classic Ed trolling. Right
absolutely,
there.
absolutely is. Just watching Stone during Brandon J at his solo takeover. There's a couple moments in the show where it's like the same reaction from Stone. He kind of scrunches up his face and he like kind of, gets him down in position and he's just soloing and he's getting into the moment. And it's Stone being Stone, and it's the best. It really is. Gives the crowd a little bit of a chance to sing during Faithful, which kind of feels unique. I don't ever remember him doing like a call and response with the crowd during this song before.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those moments in this where I think he was impressed by this crowd and like not, I think sometimes we talk about they kind of have preconceived notions about what the shows down here in the southeastern part of the country are going to be like. But I think this crowd surprised him. There's a couple of times I think they, especially Wygo right from the beginning. I think he was impressed. And he was like, okay, I can push them a little bit.
Sure, yeah. The one thing I did notice at the end of the song when they're kind of like fading out and doing the end, Stone doesn't have a part there. That's all McCready that plays that little ending outro. So Stone is just sitting there in the background with his acoustic guitar, and the look on his face is like, "You guys done yet? Is this song over?"
That's just he just goes into like default mode, like screensaver mode. That blank look, like he's just like he's just tuned out for a minute until like okay, then somebody goes and pushes the on button and then he's back in.
Time for the next one, right?
Yeah.
So the on button comes when Ed addresses the crowd here. Mind your manners. Where's my manners? Good evening, everybody. We're in Hampton, Virginia. We've never been here before. Driving in, it was incredibly beautiful. Do we tell others that it's beautiful, or do we keep it a secret? Well, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of that because there's something pretty important about Hampton, Virginia, in this place, and that's that the Grateful Dead has like this huge, I guess, in history that they've played there 21 times. Like they have a massive history there. 21 concerts there between 79 and 92, and including their now famous 89 shows that were at the venue, and the shows were later commercially released as formerly the Warlocks because the band was billed under the name the Warlocks. So yeah, neither of us are really Dead people, but I've always respected their culture because their culture is so unique to them, kind of the same way that our culture is unique to us. Like that, that the Warlocks thing is, right out of the David J. Gunn Band or right out of the Piss Bottle Men. Like that's the same type of thing that we have in our lineage as well. I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, and he even mentions like, getting into the next song, he kind of talks about, we played Virginia Beach a bunch, but we've never been here. We're kind of used to being at the beach, but this is cool.
Right, and that's very interesting because that's going to come into play later, which I feel like is a callback to one of those Virginia Beach moments. So
yeah,
hang on to that thought. He actually does bring that up, the 2000 Virginia Beach show, and that was the first one back, and said that he was being trapped in a hotel room before that show, and while he was in the hotel room, he ended up writing this song being I Am Mine, which honestly, I didn't know that that's when I Am Mine was written. I had thought that was their reaction to what happened at September 11th. Like I thought that was when I Am Mine was written, but apparently not. I don't know if the lyrics were written back then.
I don't think he directly says it was after 2000. I think he just mentions that the song was written in Virginia Beach. I think it was the Bridge School one that he said that this was after 9/11. They were in Virginia Beach, and this was written. I think you're right. I don't think he specifically says that this was written after Roskilde. Possibly.
He's always
I
getting
don't remember getting that. Yeah.
He's always getting his stuff messed up, but I wouldn't think that they would be in Virginia Beach for any other reason besides that one show.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what it was. Did he write the whole song? Did he write the melody for it? Did he write the lyrics way later and put them both together? That stuff that I guess we're just not sure of. But I have always thought that it was a reaction to 9/11.
But again, this one is like, for the love of God, let Mike loose on this song.
I know.
If there was ever going to be a time. My God, like the song is begging for like a 2.5 minute wailing kind of blackish solo.
Right. Yeah, I know. And the more you say it, it's just like you're setting yourself up for disappointment because you know it's not happening. It hasn't happened. We haven't come across one yet. Look, we've only had a small percentage of those 2003 shows, so you never know. Maybe at one of those shows it could pop up, but with all of our knowledge, it feels like we would know that.
Yeah, it feels like that would have been out there.
Yeah,
prominent.
So yeah, the performance is good.
That's great.
I thought it was great, but I get where you're coming from, and like I don't know if it's because every time we hear the song you bring it up, but like I'm on that team. I want more out of it too, but it's good for what it is. It is good for what it is, and it gets you into Jeremy, which is very interesting because when is Jeremy the 7th song in a set outside of 1993? Never. This was very different, and I kind of dug it. I thought it was pretty cool because it was just kind of like, all right, let's get one out of the way. Let's get this one out of the way, and then later we have some in the mid set that you're never going to hear in the mid set. So like just kind of, and I think they were doing this a lot in 2016 and 2014. The one that comes to mind is in Milwaukee before they did Yield. They did Baba O'Reilly like 4th or 5th song in, and when the hell does that ever happen? So they were willing to be loose a little bit and just be open to these things. But again, I mentioned it before, Jeff sounds fan-freaking-tastic on Jeremy. The 12-string is booming and vibrant in this, and Ed thought so too. He gave him a shout-out.
Yeah, and this is another one where the crowd is, I mean, anytime Jeremy's played, it's a big crowd moment because that's one that everyone knows. But I think, too, a lot of that is, we've never played here before, so let's throw, there's a lot of 10 songs that get played at the show. I think it's at least 6, maybe even one more if you add a couple from the era. But, I think a lot of that is like, we've never played here before, so let's make sure we get some of those crowd favorites just in case.
Right, yeah. 6 is the number for that. And that takes you into, Ed kind of mentioning here, this is pretty cool that he says, hey, you guys know the story about Into the Wild. Even though he had never met Chris, his sister is there that night, his sister Corinne. Of course, that's going to lead into them playing Setting Forth. And that's pretty cool. That's awesome that he has built that relationship with her being connected to the movie. So that was very cool. Yeah. However, Setting Forth, and there was a little bit of Live on Four Legs history with this here, because I went back and I looked, and I'm like, there's definitely a version of Setting Forth where right afterwards they get into this big drum beat, and you're like, oh, shit, Not For You is about to come. And it didn't happen. And I went and I looked at what show it was. It had to have been Barcelona 2018. They go Setting Forth into Given a Fly instead. And I remember talking about that, and I remember saying, like, I was so hungry for it. And, and right here, that's exactly what you get, and that's exactly what I wanted in that moment. So it kind of feels like you've fulfilled that desire here. And going back and looking at the stats on it, believe it or not, we do have these stats from the wonderful livefootsteps.org. Not For You is the leader in songs following Setting Forth. It has followed up the song 13 occasions. So it's one that they've kind of, I guess, have figured out, like, kind of like Lucan. Let's use that drum beat. Let's make that a seamless transition. And it worked. It was terrific. Not For You is a highlight from the show. Absolutely. Julia mentioned it in her note to us. Absolutely is a highlight from the show.
Yeah, double Stone solo alert on this one.
Right. Ed changes some lyrics here. Small My Table seats all of you. Does a little harmonizing and call and response. And that's where Ed kind of gets genuinely surprised and says, hey, you guys were really good.
He's like, I don't always say that, but you guys, that was great.
and not to undercut what Stone was doing, but if you watch him, and I'd go back to the video, watch him play, because he's soloing without a pick, that motherfucker, and he's just doing it all casually and scrunch-faced like that he usually does.
This whole section, like, you could even say, starting off with Corduroy, the middle of this main set is one of the best we've heard in a long time, I think.
It's very good, yeah, especially for 2016, where you kind of fall into that trap of, okay, some of these feel like when you kind of get out of your early section. All right, let's go to Elderly Woman. Let's go to the normal touchstones. There's some different things in here that make this special and make this sound good. And Not For You, for me, is the first big moment from the show that feels like the highlight from so far.
Yeah, and normally they'll throw in like a really deep cut or like a B-side that nobody knows to kind of, but this is all 90s hits right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Outside of Mind Your Manners, you're right.
Yep.
And speaking of 90s hits, we're right there. We're at the even flow spot. So Mike walking down into the crowd, put the 1960 Fender, which he thought was a 1959 Fender at the time, puts it over his head, allows the people to kind of play along with him and getting a chance to touch him and touch his guitar. And if there's anything that I've taken away from being a Pearl Jam podcaster for the last 3 years, it's that the more I watch Mike McCready, the more I grow to just absolutely admire the man and respect how fucking talented he is. Can't say it enough. One of the best out there. Look, I don't have to convince you guys. The people that we have to convince are the people that consider themselves the rock and roll connoisseurs that are like, oh, Van Halen and Slash. Like, those are the guitar gods. McCready is a fucking guitar god. Let's just address that.
And just the focus and concentration that you have to be able to play while people are, doing shit in your face and trying to grab the guitar and like, oh, it's amazing.
And he's encouraging it and he's reveling in it. He loves it.
Yeah, and we mentioned 2006 earlier. We get a little callback to 2006 even flow here.
We do. Yeah, Matt fucking Cameron, a little bit of the flourish, and it kind of sounds like, all right, well, maybe it's just a little bit of something, but it starts to evolve, and it starts to, okay, now everybody kind of lay off, let Matt do what he does, and just crushes the way on the solo. It kind of sounded, I don't know if you noticed that, just the sound of one of his hits, it just sounded like he was hitting a bongo or something like that. It sounded so stiff, so hard, that it just had this like bongo reverberated vibe to it.
Yeah, it could be he's got those like toms, tightened really tight to give it kind of that bouncy sound to it.
Sure.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
Right, yep. And finishes off the song, singing along with the crowd. It's got the wine bottle. Fantastic. Even flow is a great moment, as usual. And McCready gets the cred, and then Ed mentions Soundgarden fans, and, this is an unfortunate realization that around this time the next year, Soundgarden would obviously not be a thing anymore. That's a really disappointing thing to realize. But at the time, Soundgarden, obviously, Matt still having two bands. He mentioned Soundgarden and people wanting a seat in the back in order to watch Matt Cameron. Yet here comes Stone with the beginning of Daughter. And this section right here, from Daughter, It's Okay, into the next song that I don't want to say just yet because I want it to feel special when it comes up. This is a callback to not just the Virginia Beach show in 2000, but all of that early 2000 tour.
It's okay, it's okay. Oh, we've all seen better days, so I sing to you. It's okay. Oh, you know I love you anyway. Come on, it's okay. Oh, you don't have to run and hide away. It's okay.
Everybody has always gone back to the It's Okay tab being the one to just bring everybody together, be the one that everybody's waiting for. WMA is great, Another Brick in the Wall is great, but like It's Okay is the one where everybody is going to just have that scream, that reaction whenever it comes up. And I feel like this was probably played here as an homage to what was going on with the Bathroom Band.
Could be. And I think too, like, yeah, it's absolutely a callback to that Virginia Beach show from 2000. That's one of the most important shows that Pearl Jam has ever played. I think I don't think that can be argued. So yeah, I think this is them kind of paying a little respect to the area for like, hey, you know, you guys helped us out back then. That was important because yeah, the crowd at that show is amazing. Too. Like they give them a standing ovation from the very first before they even hit a note at that show. Like that, it gives me chills still to go back and listen to it. Just the opening song that they played, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I don't think I've ever seen It's Okay tagged on Dora. So this is another one I wish I would have been there to see. It would have been really special. Great version here.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's definitely one of the highlights of the night. And right afterwards, Mike gets to pick a sign out of the crowd that says It's Okay with a peace sign in the O, and he puts it back on his amp, and he keeps it there the rest of the night. And then at the end of the night, he takes a Sharpie out, signs it, hands it back to the person. I mean, stand-up guy. What can you say? They're all just incredible human beings that do things like this and recognize what's going on in the crowd. So, this is another great moment that's about to happen right here. And if you're in the crowd, you got to be saying, "Oh my God, wow." How in a million years, how you would ever get this song in the middle of the set. And Ed said, this is for anybody that's had a great teacher in your life that has made an impact on you. Asked everybody to raise their hands, and many do. He gives a shout out to all the teachers, and there's a teacher that's in the crowd named G, and he gets a spotlight on him, and he says, all right, this one's for you. Mentioning that he had a teacher, which obviously this song is about. Long Road as your 12th song in the middle of the set.
And I wished for so long, can I stay? All the precious moments
goes back to the beginning, and them doing Why Go to open the show kind of would make you think, and this goes back to when I went to MSG and they opened with Go that night. I never thought I would get released in the middle of the set, but they did it, and it was out of nowhere, and it felt like, whoa, how in a million years would they ever put it there? Long Road is here, and that feels the same thing. Like, it has to be in so many people's minds, like, almost unfathomable that they would do that.
Yeah, it's never done. And this is the song that they opened with in 2000 when they came back after Roskilde. And yeah, like, that version I think is the best version of Long Road that there is. Like I mentioned,
Yes.
that the crowd just unbelievable from the very beginning. And yeah, I think again, this and Daughter is just paying some respect and paying some homage to what this crowd in this area did for them back then. Really, really special moment.
Absolutely. And if you want the numbers on this, 90 times they've played Long Road, 75 times as the opener. A lot of the times that they didn't play it as an opener were like in that 2013, 2014, where they opened with Pendulum, then went right into Long Road afterwards. On very, very rare occasions was it in the middle of the set like this, or I call back to San Diego in 2006 where they played it in the encore and was dedicated for Ed's teacher being in his hometown, San Diego. So, like, a fantastic moment.
This might be the second or third latest that's ever been played.
Oh, it has to be, yeah. If we can go deeper on the numbers if we have to at a different point, maybe in a tease to the show. But yeah, this is terrific. This is an incredible performance. Matt sounds really good on this. Jeff sounds really good on this, and it just
would love to do an Evolution episode on Long Road.
I think it definitely has to be coming within the next year. It's been on my short list for a long time. Yeah. The next one is Hard to Imagine, by the way.
Yep.
If you guys are following along at home. Kind of gets you into this little section here where they get you in the more, I don't want to call them softer songs, but like, you know,
mid-tempo,
right? Wish List and Your Siren. But like I don't know if you notice this in Wish List, but he says something like shining off your fried chicken's hood. Is that what he said?
I wish I was a full moon shining off your fried chicken's hood.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
that would be weird.
I thought that was very weird. I don't know what that was a reference to. Was somebody in the crowd holding up a bucket of chicken?
I don't know.
Yeah. It had a great little Ebo part in there and an improv from Ed. And this kind of goes back to what, you know, the whole basis of this show. Wishing he was part of the government. This is in his little improv that he does at the end of the song. Wishing he was part of the government, and kind of recites the line, I wish they'd let people be themselves. And the law is obviously on his mind.
Yeah, that is a direct reference to that. Yeah,
100%. So important moment and poignant moment. If you're there and you know what's going on, then yeah, you're tuned into it. Sirens right after, tuned a little bit differently. Ed has a nice little embellishment on the "To See You in the Arms of a Fucking Nothing Man." Good little crowd exchange on that song too. Like here, it's kind of some of the more somber tunes and some of the kind of like that give you a little bit more introspective songs instead of the rockers. So that's, they did the section up pretty nicely.
Yeah, like I said, this whole midsection show, you can even go back to Corduroy. Corduroy through Sirens is all fantastic, but then it all comes crashing down.
Did you hate Habit as much as I did?
I don't hate the song, but it just sounded off. Like something was wrong. Somebody was out of tune. Somebody was using the wrong guitar. It didn't sound good.
Well, it's definitely down-tuned, and they've played it in this era before.
Worse than that, though. These are wrong notes being played.
That's what I thought as well, and I remember there was another version that we had done. It might have been like, I don't know if they played it at one of those Wrigley shows, but there were some of those songs that they played at that Wrigley show that were egregiously bad, undertuned. And I don't know if Habit was one of them, but I feel like we've covered Habit, and it sounded like this, but this just is not good. However, if it's supposed to be in tune, if it's supposed to be out of tune, it stinks. It's sludgy. And you see it. This is another Stone moment. Stone knows it. Stone knows it sucks because he kind of gives the little smirk, like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah, and I think it's Ed's guitar too, because there's a moment, I think, after because the Speaking as a Child of the 90s is a little angsty.
Yeah,
he's a little pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after that he either realizes it, or you know what I think happened? I think the guitar was supposed to be tuned down, but he wasn't playing it he was playing it the original way, maybe.
Okay.
And he realizes it. He corrects it, because that last part, it sounds better. Like you're like, oh, that's Habit. That's the note.
Yeah, I noticed.
He's been looking for.
I noticed the jam at the end actually sounded really, really good.
Yeah, I think Ed corrected himself. If he was playing it, because if the guitar's tuned, you have to adjust your fingering if you're going to play it. Yeah, and I don't think he was doing that, so I think that was what was throwing it off.
That's an interesting point. Okay, cool. And just to address that, the song was a dedication to a soldier that was in the crowd that apparently got a tambourine at a show in Philly. It was kind of it was a weird story that kind of mixed all over the place, but apparently there were some, the soldier and his brother were trying to keep clean from substance abuse, and Ed had dedicated it to them. So nice that he dedicated that to them, but could have done it a little better.
Yeah.
A little Matt channeling in me there, but
it's not. I mean, this is not nitpicky. The song is ruined.
It's
like
awful.
It is. It doesn't sound good.
Yeah,
and it's unavoidable.
It's legit awful. So unfortunate, but you know what? Give me anything before 2000, like 2000.
No Code? Sure, if I'd been there, I'd have been rocking out.
96 to 2000, like when Habit is played in that era, like Habit is perfect. But I think a little bit after that, they kind of leave it off some shows and it kind of becomes this more uncommon song. And there's a lot of uncommon songs that are played here. Kind of gets left off a little bit, and maybe they just sort of forget what the mindset was when the song was sounding really good back in the day.
Oh, we'll talk about No Code in a little bit.
I know we will.
Yeah,
got
some thoughts on that.
Yep, you got my song that was hit, and your song's gonna hit in a little bit as well.
It's gonna have. I've got a really sad story.
Oh no. Well,
coming up, it's gonna break your heart.
Where's my Kleenex?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so Ed kind of tells a little story about a local person that just got free from jail after 33 years due to DNA evidence, and Given to Fly is dedicated to them. And there's a very slight lyric change, waiting locked in instead of waiting locked out. I don't know if you caught that, but that was very crafty from Ed there. Good version. Mike's talking to crowd members at the end. Thought that was kind of cool. And Ed's mentioned here they're doing good with the sing-alongs, so they were doing good with the quiet ones. So let's get you into Lucan, and there was at least like 6 or 7 intelligible words there. maybe 6.
Yeah. He started off good, and then he kind of lost the train of it.
Keys home.
Yeah.
Curse, dumb. Like
he has those, like, he hits those words at the end of the sentence to make sure. But yeah, then that's just like keys home. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
It's like, all right, well, we want to get more songs into the set list. How do we make this a 33 song show? The main set was 18 songs long, but when you look at it, there are 2 songs that are kind of under 2 minutes with Lucan and Setting Forth that are more of your transitional kind of songs. But Lucan transitions into River Mirror fine, and River Mirror's great. Jeff, once again, MVP.
Absolutely.
Phew.
Locking it down. Yeah.
Jeff is amazing in this. The big clapping before it revs up to hit the big finish was fantastic. And look, Ed and Jeff are jamming during the bridge, and it's such a great visual because it kind of reminds you of when they're, the famous poster when they're going back to back. I believe that was Pink Pop.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds you of that. And you almost never see that anymore. Like, Jeff, if he's jamming with anybody, he's usually jamming with Mike just because they're on the same side. But very cool to see them both together and see them kind of locked in. And what do we always say on this show, John?
Never a bad version. And just add another one to the list.
Yep.
Great.
Into the pile.
Gets a little bit spacey too.
Yeah, it does.
Very cool.
Yep. And it has all kind of different personalities to it, but that's how you end the main set. We're here in the encore. So let's pause for station identification and talk a little bit about Patreon. And John, we have some great news, don't we?
Yeah, it was kind of a slow week for Patreon, right? Not a lot to talk about. We can probably just skip through this real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Yeah, let's talk about that, because you kind of you were gonna do like a telethon before we recorded this episode. You went full Jerry Lewis, like you were in it for the long haul.
I didn't want to come on this show and be like, hey, last week we had such a big week. And, we got to 98, and I didn't want to come on the show and be like, oh, we went nowhere. I at least wanted to hit and get to 100. And yes, I did. I went and I did my best shill. And you know what? I guess we earned it because we got the numbers on this. And,
And hey, and we're starting another 100. We're at 101 right now.
We're at right. I just noticed that.
We got another one. Yeah, we got another one right as we started.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, thank you guys so much. That's amazing.
So, the big news here is that you're getting a party. First of all, Patreon party is, and this is open to everybody. It's not just open to patrons. It's open to everybody that listens to the show, friends of the show, people that we had on last time that were part of the gift exchange. You're all invited. Like, this is going to be a celebration of just the next phase of life and returning to, hopefully being hopeful about shows. And we have Matt's band is going to be lined up to play again. He kind of gave me some hints of what he wants to do in the set list. So that should be very exciting. And we might have some very special guests on as well. So, stay tuned for all that.
I think it'll be worth your time. I think there'll be some things that you'd be interested in. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna, when we get a date nailed down, we'll definitely be talking about it. We'll be talking about it on the show. We'll be talking about it on our social media. So yeah, if you can, we'd love to see everybody there.
Absolutely. So all right, let's thank the people that made this possible. The people that you can thank for giving you a party, we're going to thank because they're contributing to our cause and to what we're doing and to bringing you guys not just a podcast, but a website that we're working incredibly hard on. And speaking of that, the first person I want to thank is Alex Hoggard. And Alex has been doing a tremendous job. He's been, I kind of recruited him. We were doing some things for, I guess, the album a day thing that we were doing on our Facebook group. And every day he was writing in and sharing his thoughts. And I'm like, you know what? He's a damn good writer. I would love for him to write some stuff for us. And he's, I believe he's from the UK. and he has a lot of experience from those shows, so he's bringing in a different vibe. Most of our writers are US based, so it's great to have people in that kind of know the shows from England and get some of those in, and we're excited to finally have him on board as a patron, and he's a good friend of ours and a very, very hard worker. So thank you, Alex. And
thanks, Alex. Yeah.
Number 100, Michael Bailey. Michael Bailey, thank you so much. 100, patron 100, and for that he earned himself a Live on Four Legs mask, and that should be coming.
He's going to be getting some bootlegs from Patrick Bogle.
I heard that was
he's
promised.
He's going to be making out like a bandit on this thing.
You're right. Yeah, hey, when we say we come through on something, we come through big time. So, and for everybody else too, anybody that joined on this day will get, oh my God, we literally...
Do we have I
swear to fucking God, it refreshed right as I was in mid-sentence. I am not shitting you guys. We just hit 102 as we were doing
good timing this. For Denny there.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
So okay, let's thank the 101 patron 101 and patron 102, Danny T. It seems like they're from Canada because they paid with Canadian dollars. So from US to Canada, thank you all up there, and Denny McCauley. I think Denny has been commenting on some of our stuff lately, and they've been really enjoying stuff. So, and I believe that they had said that they had wanted to become a patron. So,
great!
Thank you for
I hope you guys go back. All that archived content is still there. All the Setlist drafts, all the Evolution episodes, all the bonus content. It's all there for you. I hope you guys get a chance. Get that Patreon app. You can scroll through and just go nuts, listen to all that stuff.
Yep. And at one point, maybe I'll put everything together because it's kind of hard to find things on the app. Maybe I'll just put a link list all together so you can kind of see where all the Evolution episodes and just an easy direction to that. But yes, if you want to become patron 103 or 104 or 105, and we can keep going on forever. We won't. We won't throw a party for patron number 112, but hey, stranger things have happened. You can join our group and just, join the fun. Head on over to patreon.com/liveonfourlegs or download the Patreon app. We have the 3 tiers, the $1 bonus leg tier, which all of the people that joined up today are $1 bonus leg members. And that's all we ask for. Just join for the bonus leg so you can get the content and just get everything. We just want people that enjoy the show to be able to have as much of it as possible, because we go out and we do this. We
couldn't do it without those $1 patrons.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely. And now a lot of the 102 now, a big chunk of them are the bonus leg people, and they're fantastic. So the bonus leg is $1, the Giggle leg is $5. With the Giggle leg, you get to request a show that we'll be doing on the podcast at some point in the future. The $10 leg is the Horizon leg, and that will give you a profile episode along with a show for us to cover on the pod, as well as an executive producer title on our website and an opportunity to get some more things. And with the mask, I have a big stack of masks, and I have promised some people that are patrons from earlier that haven't gotten masks. If you are one of those people, please get in touch with us so I can send you one. I have about 30, and I promised to those people, and I promised to the people that have been writing for us for the Concertpedia, you guys are all going to get masks. But for the people that are new patrons, you'll get a mask if you didn't sign up today. People that signed up today are getting masks. The way to get a mask would be if you sign up for the $10 leg, we're going to send you one right away. If you sign up for the Giggle leg, it'll be 4 months of Giggle leg sign up before we send you a mask. If you sign up to the bonus leg and show that you paid for the entire year's subscription on the bonus leg, we'll send you one right away. Same with the Giggle leg. But if not, the bonus leg will be for a full year, and then we'll send it to you after a year. But yes, everybody, we will make sure that you guys get a mask, and but they are going to be going rather quickly. So if that's something that you really want, head on over now, join, and hey, this week you'll have a Bridge School episode, 2010 Night 2. It'll be there.
No. and join our Discord. Send us an email. We'll send you a link to our Discord. A lot of great stuff going on over there. A lot of like random bootlegs get posted there. A lot of stuff that we talk about. Like that's kind of a little treasure trove of extra content as well. So if you're on Discord, if you're interested in that, send us an email. We'll send you the link, and you can join the conversation over there as well.
Yep, we love all of our Discord people. Absolutely, head on over. We'd love for you to join those conversations, because that's how you get in. That's how you get into this group.
And we're
really
over. You and I are
brains.
posting on the thing all the time, so it's a good way to kind of get direct to us.
You can never get rid of us, can you? Well, soon you'll be able to get rid of me a little bit. You'll be around, but
temporarily.
All right, let's get back into the rock here. Ed, thanks everybody for sticking around. And we played the clip earlier of Ed talking about this, but we'll mention this again. This is where he brings up the bathroom ban and brings up why they had to cancel the show. And ultimately, because there's nothing like the immense power of boycotting, it could be that the way it's ultimately going to affect change. And maybe that was a thing that did help, because when they held out, it wasn't bringing revenue to the state, and more people that sign on that, like more other acts that were about to do it, like that's less revenue. Like everybody, it's all about what's going into their pockets, and if they're not making money, then it's not worth it to them. So
voting with your dollar is just as important as voting at the ballot box.
Absolutely. And the next song is dedicated to all the soldiers in the LGBTQ community. And
but did you hear the request that was made?
Yeah, Act
Did
of
you hear
Love.
Ed mention that? Yeah, someone. I don't know if someone had a sign or he heard someone yell it out, but someone called out for Act of Love. How cool would that have been? He even mentions it. He goes, "Oh, Act of Love, that's a good request."
Yeah, right.
We're not going to play it, but they weren't going to do it. But shout out to that person. That would have been crazy.
I think that would have been pretty appropriate for what was going on. So instead, you get "I Am a Patriot," and it's Ed solo. And I don't know if you noticed it, but he changed the lyrics from "girlfriend" to "boyfriend" here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And
absolutely.
It's a sign of solidarity with the LGBTQ community. I can't
that
can't
note
say
at the
that
end.
sometimes.
Oh yeah, he hits that note at the end. It's he's putting everything he's got into this one. This is another one like Wish List and a couple other ones we mentioned that direct mentions to the Raleigh situation. So he's definitely putting everything he's got into it.
Very nice dedication, and it just continues on into "Sleeping by Myself." And he's got the uke, and the uke says, it literally says in Sharpie or on a piece of tape, it says Clarence. And it says, "This is my uke, named Clarence. It's a boy, and it's okay to love whoever you want." That fantastic moment. It's great. It's bringing up everything that he believes in here. And he barely even strums the thing until the actual part where he has to play. And then when it gets to that part, he's like, fuck, what do I do?
Believe in love and disaster. I fucked that up. I'm beginning to see what's left over. Can I do it again? I'm gonna get it. I get it. I can get it.
This is a different kind of train wreck than Habit was, but it is just as much of a train wreck. And then there's like dick jokes and they kind of lost me at this point.
Yeah, he had mentioned that Mike was playing a white Gretsch, a beautiful guitar, and he had mentioned, oh, Mike's is bigger than mine, and he was going in all different directions, and he was trying at one point. He remembered the melody, but then he was like, fuck, I forget the lyrics now. And he's going, and he's like doing this. He's like, oh, okay. Now he gets it. And
this was another one where Stone just clicked into auto mode. He's just checked out.
Right. Bring Stone back to 1993 when he was more in charge of shit.
Yeah, but Sleeping by Myself, like, I know it's not the most popular song in the Pearl Jam fandom. A lot of people have it in their bottom 10, probably myself included. Like, why are they playing the song here? Literally anything else. Like, it just kind of lost me. Like, it's
right.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. we did it a couple weeks ago when we did Cincinnati, and I was just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
At least this one has talking points, but you know,
like give me an Off He Goes, give me a Footsteps, give me a Just Breathe.
Sure.
Give me Yellow Moon, do Future Days, do something. Yeah.
Look, but the next one you get is Comeback, and like that's a great one for this section.
Mm-hmm.
Dedicated for a dad named Peyton and Dr. Michael Richter, and not Mike Richter, not the Rangers goalie, but a different Michael Richter, I suppose. But you know, whenever this gets played, it usually feels like there's a purpose for it. They're not just going to play this song just because. Like, this is always either a dedication or, you know, due to something that has happened in their lives or somebody else's life that has impacted them. And boy, is that solo at the end just powerful.
One of the best moments of this in this encore. Yeah.
Sometimes you get this song and it feels like a grieving moment, and sometimes it feels like a healing moment. I feel like this was more of a healing moment than grieving moment, and just that you just get that sense of relief when Mike hits that beautiful, unbelievable, and to tie that in back to back with Sad, and to know that like kind of the themes of the song are the same, but you kind of get something that's a little bit more energetic and a little bit more of a rarer song to get in the set list is fantastic. Like, you know how much I love the song and how it's probably number 2 on my list of like have to see it right now after Brain of J. But had I have gone to the show, I wouldn't have had to worry about anything. But freaking awesome. Love Sad. I really like this stretch of song from Comeback through Breath was incredible. I really, really like this section, even though Lightning Bolt was a bit of a disaster in its own right. But once
in a different way,
right?
Three different train wrecks in this show.
But Mike just sounds great at the end of Sad. Like another just fantastic moment for Mike. Yes,
always cool when they play Sad.
Lightning Bolt. Something happens during this, and I'm not sure what it was, but the crowd catches it, Ed catches it, and he completely disregards that first chorus, tells security, points out the fan, and the other fans are being like, it's this guy, and he's escorted away. Ed gets back on the mic during that, kind of like, like he's saying,
Might as well stop, dude. We caught you being a douchebag. You're out of here. You got him. Just go out nice and easy. We'll see you next time.
Someone being a drunk idiot, probably getting in people's faces, just like
Right.
just like the Lucan at Wrigley. You know, this one probably not as intense as that one,
right.
but still, someone just had a little too much and making a little spectacle of themselves. So yeah, that they had to be escorted out.
What's rule number 1, John?
Don't be a dick.
Asshole, but yeah, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
So it feels like, right after that, it feels like they they get right back into the song, and it has some kind of like Ed. You see his face the whole entire time. He keeps that anger for the rest of the song, and it has a really good vibe to it. Mike sounds fantastic in it, and Ed's going on to the speakers. He's kind of rocking back and forth, kind of walking around the stage, kind of maybe getting some of the anger work off of him, maybe. But yeah, this one kind of stung with him for the rest of the song, but it added to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anytime he gets a little amped up, he wears his heart on his sleeve. You have everybody in the building knows what he's feeling every single moment of these shows, and that's why we love him. And that can be for the benefit of the show a lot of times, but for a lot of times it can be like this, where it adds a little something extra that you didn't bargain for.
Yep, absolutely. So there's a little call and response singing thing where he's like, yeah, and the crowd responded like it's this kind of stuff that Freddie Mercury does. But he addresses the knucklehead that got kicked off and said that some other guy had potential to be a dirtbag, but he's got a great girl next to him that makes him a little better. He just picked somebody random on the side stage. It was very weird. How did he even see? He's like, you with the beard, and the guy's like, wait, me? All the way up in the second tier? Yep, that's who Ed saw. So here it is. Ed says, can we throw a little something on the menu that wasn't there before? A little request. Here's an extra side dish. So I can only guess what the story is. It's that the whole thing culminating in you choosing Raleigh over this show, not getting Raleigh, and then not going to this show, and then afterwards hearing that they did it, obvious. So, all right. Did I get it? Or?
Do I have time to tell a little bit of a story here?
Absolutely. All we do is tell stories.
Let's go back to 2013. So I go to Charlotte. Fantastic show. We covered it on the podcast. You guys were nice enough to, even before I was officially on the show, you guys were nice enough to let me come and talk about it. Fantastic show. However, show before that and the show after that, Charlottesville and New Orleans, they played In My Tree, my favorite song. I have yet to hear In My Tree. They played it both bookends of that show. 2014, go to Memphis. Memphis, great show.
Moline's
you
like
were
3
there.
minutes later.
What happens after that? They play No Code in its entirety. 3 days later. 2 days later. This show, I'm at the 3 shows surrounding this. This is the one they choose to just throw in. Oh, not on the set list. Oh, just throw it in my tree. John's not here. We'll play it. Right? Like, I just cannot win with this song.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I think you got to win that contest where you get to create the set list, and then you'll have your say.
I tried. Yeah. I've got my Life Wasted shirt for it. If I get a GA again, I'm gonna wear it, and he's gonna see me.
That's all you can hope for, I guess. Like, look, I've gotten it twice, and I would love to get it again. Like, I think a lot of songs from the show, like In My Tree, Sad, Inside Job, that's going to come up a little bit later, Brain of J from earlier, like, those are songs that I have either not seen or haven't seen in a very, very, very long time. So I'm still, in a way, always kind of chasing those. So I know how it feels, and especially when I always get to a show and it's like, all right, time for a rare song. Here's All Night. And I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to hear All Night again because it's not that great of a song.
Like I always say, I've only been to 9 shows, so I'm not as up there as some people because I do live in Georgia where they don't come down here a lot. But I've seen B-Girl twice. I've seen Of the Earth twice.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen some cool stuff, but I've just always been one notch off of In My Tree. I've always been missed it by just that much. And this one was tough because, like, after going back and seeing, like, we just wanted to throw this extra in for you guys. Like, really? Couldn't have done that 2 minutes before.
But it was really
5 minutes before, 3 minutes later. Oh, it's great. It's great. Mike's amazing.
Jeff is amazing.
Oh my god, it's a great version of In My Tree. one of the best
shit out of it.
like later versions you'll hear.
Yeah.
And again, it reminded me of Charlottesville as well. You know, you getting saddened in my tree like this, and that people love that show. But yeah, this one broke my heart.
Yeah, look. All I can say is that maybe since now you're with the podcast, maybe the podcast luck is on your side.
Hopefully.
if there is such a thing,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay positive and say that there is, but
Nashville and St. Louis, come on.
That's
let's get that rescheduled Raleigh show. Let's get
right.
2 or 3 Atlanta shows, and let's make it happen.
That's right. Yep. It falls into Breath. Great, fantastic version of Breath, where Mike again is a highlight. And
Jeff again, man.
Jeff
like
too.
This is a Jeff show. Great.
It absolutely is. Ed is holding up his guitar and letting it shine on the crowd like he's done, in the riot act era during Half Full. Like this is
He brings out that guitar just for that. He doesn't even play that guitar.
No, he didn't play that. I've never seen that guitar before in my life. It was like green.
Yeah.
Ed doesn't play green guitars. He's very weird. But
Yeah, I think it's
what he did.
someone. A shout out to, I think it was. And I've been doing so many of these. People have been doing so many of these reviews for their website. Somebody mentioned it at another show. I want to say it was Hillary mentioned it at one of the Amsterdam shows.
Oh.
That he did this, and she even had the make, like it's like a Duesenberg guitar. So I think he's been known to do this from time to time. He just brings this guitar out. It shines like a blue light out in the crowd or something. Yeah, cool moment.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know the make of it, but that's very cool.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, good on Hillary for bringing that up. That's why she's on our team. She's got the big brains.
And then Ed's doing the Roger Daltrey thing. He's flipping the microphone around. Like, yeah, this is great.
Right. Evolution into Porch and your Encore 1. Porch kind of tricked me. I don't know if it tricked you, but in the beginning, when they're kind of sounding like they're doing the riffy stuff, they kind of go in a different direction. You're like, wait, is this going to be a different sort of Porch intro? But no, they get back into what the actual verse was. It was just kind of a tease for 2 seconds. But
and let's mention Evolution too. Stone has a great moment, another great solo.
Yeah.
And Ed forgets the lyrics, of course.
Yep.
And
it's deep into the night. He's been drinking a lot.
Right. But this is this is almost bread and butter for this Encore, Evolution and Porch. Like the green balls come down, shenanigans, Ed's out in the crowd,
barricade, touching everybody.
Yep.
It's just, again, Jeff is just the MVP, and he is fantastic in this bridge and the whole solo. You can just hear how vibrant his bass is, and sometimes it's kind of in the background a little bit, and it's not mixed in where he's as much of a focal point, but here he's once again just the shining star and sounding fantastic. So that all gets you into the second encore. The way that they start off the second encore is a little bit of a happy birthday for a woman named Liz, who's part of the crew. And after
That's
happy
Liz Burns, right?
Is it? I'm unsure.
I believe so. She's one of the tour managers, I think. Or she's with the camera department.
Hey,
she's been around a long time.
Yeah, that's not something that I know, but I trust you on that knowledge.
She's like one of the camera managers or something, or she has a tour manager title maybe. But yeah, she's been with them since at least 2003.
Cool. Okay.
You'll see her name in the credits of a lot of stuff.
Right. But good to her for her to get to be on stage and kind of get a moment. Some of those people are like, Liz Burns. That's kind of like one of the unsung heroes of the band that goes out there and busts their ass. Yep. Absolutely. There's so many, Keeley and some of their guitar techs, Brett Elias, and like all those guys that have been there from the beginning. Smitty, who's now their manager. They're everybody that they keep people on because people are good people. So, that gets them to turn around to the back, play Elderly Woman for the back, which is a nice version. Nice to see the back getting some love. It happened a lot on this tour, whether it was Smile or Last Kiss.
They've got that full setup back there. This is cool too, because we talked about that a few weeks ago, where they didn't have the full setup. And this one, you've got Cameron just on like a little makeshift drum kit, and it's a completely different setup. Like Cameron's in the front, Jeff's kind of off to the side of him. Mike's down like behind the barrier, like almost in the crowd, but like playing to them, like, and then Ed's on top behind everybody, kind of on the drum riser. It's a really different kind of setup for them.
Yeah, but hey,
We don't
look,
talk about that a lot.
we don't know, but everybody just kind of gets a chance to, change the game a little bit and just do something a little bit different, and it's cool. Whenever they do it, it's a nice touch for the PN. I've been that person a lot. Like sometimes I haven't been able to get the 10 Club tickets, and I've settled for getting behind the stage, and it's our moment, and it's nice to get that. So I appreciate whenever they do it. And I will say that the first time that they've ever done it was Buffalo 2013. I never want to go back on that, because I swear to God, I've never seen it before. And every time since. So after Elderly Woman, Inside Job is played in memory for activist named Jennifer Jaff, and Mike mentions her and talks about how she helped people who didn't have insurance get the proper care, and shouts out somebody named Alan in the crowd who helps for the same cause. And double neck guitar is out, and that's how you know it's special. And look, this is one of my favorite songs. It's been one of my favorite songs probably since around the time that this show happened. And I haven't seen this song since my first show. I don't think I really appreciated it as much then. But here, if I were at this show, like, there's so many songs that I would have just been crazy for, and this is just one of them. To see Mike out with the double neck, and Ed kind of sings to it at a couple points, it's very cool. And it's just another little gem tossed in for just the fan service, especially in the second encore. Usually they're kind of like Elderly Woman, Black, and Let's Go Bread and Butter, but nope, this is spliced in there, and that kind of mixes in and makes this feel more like the Charlottesville show that we mentioned before.
Yeah, and this Inside Job can hang with these songs too. Like it's up there in this echelon of songs. Like it doesn't feel like it. You sandwich it between A Small Town, which is a crowd favorite sing along thing, and then the heavy hitters that come after. But this doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel out of place. It can definitely hang with these songs in this encore too. And that's just a testament to the song. And yeah, they play the shit out of it.
They really do.
Every time. Like, Mike is always feeling it. And yeah, I mean, like, it's always it's so many songs in this, like, it's always a great moment. And this is just another one, like a really, like, not a lot of times you're gonna get this in encore 2. Really, really special moment. And it might be their, like I said, it's one of your favorite songs. It might be my favorite post-Riot Act album song that they've done. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, there were a lot of dedications at the show for good reason. So, when they're set to kind of take requests and take dedications, it's usually for you get songs like this. It's never a song like, hey, somebody requested Alive or somebody requested Jeremy. It's a song like Inside Job that has more meaning. And not to say that the other songs don't have meaning, but it has a very narrowly focused meaning. So we all know what the song means to Mike, how important it is to him, and he got to speak beforehand. So, yeah, like, absolutely perfect for the moment. And to get Inside Job going into Black, that is like, that's a dream, to get the two songs back to back, and you're tapping in on those emotional moments, and you kind of know that, all right, after Black, you're about to finish the show, you're about to go into your bread and butter, but like, that's a perfect segue into all of that. Mike's got that look on his face. He's going to go into that realm that just, when he closes his eyes and kind of lifts his head back a little bit, he's going into the realm where only he has the key. He has the key to that kingdom, and boy, does the solo sound fantastic as always. There's never a bad version of Black. A little We Belong Together at the end, and in the quiet part of the song as it's about to fade out, the crowd singing the doo-doo-doo-doos, and that's like a seamless segue into Alive. Really, really cool sounding, almost even a little bit eerie.
Yeah, and we talk about too how, Black is always, how are you going to follow up these super emotional kind of moments? We talk about Crown of Thorns a lot. Like, the only thing that can follow up Crown of Thorns is Black.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing that's going to continue that momentum. And same with Inside Job. Like, you can't go Inside Job into, Comatose, or Inside Job into Sonic Reducer, or Inside Job into some, like, kind of throw off, kind of fun cover. Like it has to be black there, and yeah, that they fit together really well with this. And even live at this show, I thought, it's another one that we don't really talk about. We kind of just go bread and butter, and it is what it is. But this version of Alive is great as well. I thought it really bouncy, band's really into it, crowds into it, sound like they were having a great time. Just a fantastic version of Alive as well.
Yep, your bread and butter here is Alive, Rockin' in the Free World, and Indifference instead of Ledbetter. But it feels like an Indifferent show because it's kind of, with a couple of the hits in and out of here, and the songs like we mentioned before, Inside Job and In My Tree and Breath and Sad and a couple others. Like it's got some gems. So.
And not a lot of verses. Like you get a rearview mirror, you get a
elderly woman,
a daughter, you get but not a lot of verses on here. So
right.
that makes sense too that they would tack another one on at the end.
Sure. Rockin' in Free World stuck out to me just because the tambourines are just being chucked into the crowd liberally, and like he just not giving a fuck. All right, over here. All right, let's go
Tambo
to the middle.
time.
Right, of course, and then. Something before we went and hit record on this, we were like, hey, it seems like this is a pretty important moment, but it actually happens more often than we think. Jeff and Mike switching up for Jeff playing the guitar and Mike playing the bass in Stone's solo. I think we're always fixated on what Stone's doing in the solo that we just don't realize that they switch up. And it's kind of... it's almost so subtle. Like they're just kind of like, all right, here you go, and like you kind of don't notice it. But even when Mike's playing, like you can really feel Mike on the bass, and like he kind of he puts his own little spin and own little groove on it. It is pretty cool.
Oh, there was a cool moment too where Jeff and Stone are on opposite sides of the stage, and they're kind of having a little stare down, like a little playoff. Like they're kind of like showing off each other. Like Jeff's kind of challenging him, like, "All right, I can hang with you." Yeah, that was really fun. Great moment. And yeah, I'm gonna be watching this from now on too to kind of listen for it, see how often it actually happens. I think, like I said, I think it happens a lot more than we think.
Yeah, probably. And I do remember it happening at one of the shows that I've been to. But you're right. If you're not narrowed in and glued into it, you can just miss it. So, did you catch? There was another incident. It's just like camera cuts like mid-song. It cuts to a dude in a Yankee jersey, and the security's got him pinned back, and he's like just mouthing off at somebody, and the guy's obviously on his like 10th, 11th, 50th drink of the night, and get that fucker out of there. And it just, and look, there are going to be Yankee fans that are listening in, but it just like icing on the cake that the dude's wearing a Yankee shirt. Like it's so appropriate. But like apparently they were out. The goons were out on this night, and they got what was coming to them. So, but best moment from this little part is this little girl in the middle gets a tambourine, and Ed says, "You're the future. Women are the future." And that's always an important moment when Ed gets to do something like that and gets to, pay tribute to somebody who is literally the future of this world. Like she could have been like 11, 12 then, and now she's thinking about college. How crazy incredible time happens and grows and shit happens. So that's fantastic. She has a souvenir for life in that. And Indifference kind of ends the show, and the band just seems really happy with where they were with it, and they kind of knew that there was a lot of weight coming on their shoulders in this show, and I think they had, you can see in their faces that it's like, okay, we did something really, really tough today, but we got through it, and being that this was the way that we got through it, we're proud that we achieved it this way.
Yeah, and it would have been really easy coming off of Greenville. I mentioned like not a lot of versus songs of the show. They were kind of played out on that a little bit after Greenville.
Yeah.
And it would have been really easy to kind of have a letdown night, because you've got the Raleigh thing hanging over your shoulder. They know they didn't want to cancel. Obviously, you never want to cancel a show, but felt like they had to, and that's obviously weighing on them. And then coming off of such a high after Greenville, they would have been primed for a letdown. But yeah, that they stepped up at the show. I mean, I was prepared to kind of give this show kind of a mediocre rating. I didn't think there was going to be a lot of great moments in it, but it kind of surprised me. Shout out to Julia for requesting it. This is one that she latched on to early on, and yeah, it was. I got a lot more out of it than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, this show has a good personality to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it has a good message, and it has songs that, especially I mentioned it a million times, that I consider my songs that have always been in my rotation. I would love to get a show like this. Hell, if I would have been smart at the time, I would have taken a drive down to Virginia. Probably
Sure.
stay at my cousin's house. My cousin lives down in Virginia. I would have stayed there. So, next time I'll be smart.
We could have stayed with Justin from Deprogram. Shout out to those guys there in this area as well.
We didn't know them at the time. Hell, I didn't even know you at the time. So
yeah,
a lot of things. And we are better equipped for shows in the future now. We'll put it that way. All right, let's give a top 3 here. What do you got? What are your top 3 favorite moments?
Yeah. As much as it pains me, I gotta go In My Tree as number 3. Just not on the set list, throwing that in there. Like, hey, let's just play In My Tree for the hell of it. And it's a fantastic version. And just that knowing that they can just do that at any time just makes it even worse for me. But I gotta throw that on as a moment. Yeah, I'll go. So many. I mean, you want to say, I mentioned that a lot of that main set is great. Not For You is great. I Am Mine is great. Brain of Jay is great. I gotta go. Give me Inside Job as a number 2. Felt like that was a really cool moment, really powerful performance. And then my number 1 is gonna be the Daughter into Long Road, that little section, the little mini kind of unspoken tribute to 2000 and everything that this area did for them at the time. That has to be number 1. That really stood out to me when I was listening to this.
I agree. I can't just say Daughter, It's Okay, and Long Road as separate pieces. I think the whole thing goes in as one entity. So yeah, that would be my number 1 for this as well. I'm also going to say Come Back. The solo and Come Back was just fantastic.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of my favorite moments from this. And Not For You. Not For You was really, really good. I thought Not For You was a great highlight. But again, like we're missing out on moments like Wish List was fantastic. Nod to what was going on with the Bathroom Band, and I Am a Patriot had the same dedication.
Breath
was great. Inside Job that I left
Even
off
Flow.
mine. Yep. Yeah. Of course, I left Brain of Jay off my list. Yeah. And maybe I could make a top 3 that's all just Jeff moments. You could do that.
Sure.
But this whole show just had different little nuances that make it really good. So with that being said, let's figure out a rating for it. You thought that you were going to go into this thinking it was mediocre. You probably were a little, I don't know, were you kind of like angry at the show for a long time and being like, I don't ever want to listen to it. I don't want anything to do with it. You sounded like you had some of that vibe kind of coming off you during In My Tree there.
Yeah, I might have listened to this right when they released it, and then not. I don't think I'd even listened to it since then. But yeah, I was prepared to give this like a 6 or a 7, because we talked about Habit is a train wreck. Sleeping by Myself is kind of a train wreck. The crowd we talked about, great early on. Some louts in the crowd kind of ruined it near the end, but I'm not gonna take that away from it. That's gonna happen. So, I mean, again, this impressed me. I was pleasantly surprised listening to it, and I'm gonna give it an 8.
That's exactly where I am. I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. I think it deserves it. A lot of really good moments, and moments that you remember that kind of get connected through the show, and certain songs will do that, especially the ones that don't get played too often, like In My Tree, and some of the others that they did, Long Road in the middle of the set, you're always going to remember. And it's kind of sneaky because, when looking at the set list beforehand, you would kind of just scroll down and you'd be like, oh, that Long Road's here. Okay. And like, you sort of almost, it doesn't speak to you at first. It doesn't say like, wait, that's weird. Why did that not why did I not think that Long Road in the middle of the set was weird when looking at it? But it wasn't until I actually saw, wait a minute, turn my head for a second. Long Road doesn't go there. That doesn't happen. So now it's piqued my interest, and it worked. It was great, especially for the moment, and especially the callback to Virginia Beach in 2000. It's a good 8+ show. So there you have it. Hampton, Virginia, 2016 is in the books, and next week is the month of May. And we're going to go back a little bit to one of our series that we've been doing this year, and that's the Seattle Hometown series. And since we've kind of been working up the chronology, starting down at 91, then going to 92, 93, 94, 95, whatever it is, we are now in the no-code era. So this week we got to talk about In My Tree. We get to talk about In My Tree again next week. Wouldn't you believe that? We are going
a show that happened on my 18th birthday.
Incredible. Is that the only show that's ever happened on your birthday? Or have you had others?
I don't know.
I brought that up in the Discord.
Yeah. I just know about this one, and that's all I need.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, this is a great one. Literally every No Code song debuts, and they basically play the full album, except for maybe Smile and I'm Open, but it's great. We're going to go through the whole thing, talk a little about the other era, but everybody this year is talking about 10's 30th anniversary. We got to give a little bit of love to No Code's 25th. That's just how it happens. They have the same birthday, and No Code just kind of is the afterthought in all of it. But to have one be the 30th and one be the 25th, they both get to share the love. And when it comes time that their birthdays will pop up, we will give them that due justice. But next week is going to be that Showbox show from 1996 where they debuted everything.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, that just makes me feel old.
Well, I could throw a little bit more salt in the wound, but I will hold off.
It's fine.
I will hold off. I was only 10 during that show, and I had just turned 10. So there you go. You want to feel more old? There you go. You're
I do.
8 years older than me.
You're just a baby.
Well, that makes me feel great. So that's what we'll do next week. And if you're planning on joining patreon.com/live on 4 legs, we will have the Bridge School episode from 2010. That'll be out this week, and we're near the end on that. So 2014 will be the next 2 months, and then we'll be done. So get in on it when you can, when we're doing it in real time, or else you're gonna have a lot to catch up on. So, and then Hard to Imagine Evolution, that'll be coming some point soon as well. And who knows, maybe we'll have other tricks up our sleeve as the month of May continues. But until then,
we're always cooking up something for you guys.
Always
something on the back burner. The wheels are always turning.
That's right. Yep. Who knows? Maybe early May. Maybe something kind of cool would happen in early May. Maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see if anything cool happens. If it does, then maybe we'll be part of it. So until then, we thank you for listening in. This may be the end. We're here, but not for much longer. And although we may be parting ways, I miss you already, and I miss you always. Hey, you guys listened to the show today. Did you like it? If you did, great. Thank you. If you didn't, then, well, maybe try again the next time. But if you did, then make sure you're subscribed on any of your favorite podcast platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, wherever it is. We're on pretty much all of them. Make sure you're subscribed and you get the updates that our episodes are coming out. And also, if you're on Apple, give us that 5-star rating. That helps us. That helps us out, because there are always a few of those goons out there that are like, oh, 1 star, they suck. They didn't like my favorite show, or whatever it is. And they'll just give them a 1-star rating. We want to get back to being a 5.0. We're at 4.5 right now. We want to be at 5.0. So if you love the show,
it helps more people. Helps more people find the show.
It sure does. Yep,
which
absolutely.
is what we want.
It's always the word of mouth. Everything in the fandom is all done by word of mouth and passing it on to the next person. So if you pass it on to the next person, if you were at this show and your friend was also at this show, pass it on to them, and hopefully you'll tune in next week for another great show to focus on No Code Showbox 96. We'll see you then.
Someday in my tree, someday I will find you.
I wish I was part of government.